Marilyn Hemingway, and welcome to A Gathering Place. I said, I'm stepping back because we have young voices who want to be heard and they're moving on something.
Branding is really important to you and your business.
Even the basic type of technology, you learn it all.
And people are
Good question. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to A Gathering Place, brought to you by the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce. And I am your hostess, Marilyn Hemingway, and we have a great show scheduled for you today. Women in Construction. We have a woman, a dynamite woman. We've already been in the back talking. She's excited to be here, and I'm excited to have her here because she has created a business that, it just blows you out the water. And in construction. So we're going to learn a lot today. We're going to sit with her for a while and hear her personal journey and get some good information from her about being an entrepreneur. And if you want to be an entrepreneur in construction, and we'll hear about the barriers she has overcome and continues to overcome as an entrepreneur in construction. And I want to bring on with us today, Miss Lasenta Lewis-Ellis. And here she is. Hello.
Hi.
How are you,
Today?
Lasenta?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us today. Let me tell you something. We have had this scheduled about a month.
Yes.
And we were talking, y'all, just before the show came on, the timeliness of the article in the Columbia Daily paper about your growth, your success. And of course, we all want you to have continued success. But it is so great to have you here to share with us your personal story about being a Black woman in construction. And this is just exciting. So good timing with the story and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It couldn't have been better timing.
I know, right? Y'all see what you do when you step out. And I reached out to you, but we have a little connection though.
Yes.
We have a little connection. My cousin Brunson Cooper, who was on, I believe, last June, and I'm going to bring him back too. And you and him are mutual friends because you met. What is the program? Is it American Express?
It was the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program.
That's right. That's right. And he sent a very nice message saying that you're going to be a great interview on Facebook. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but they go way back. They have both built $1 million businesses in construction, and it's always great to see the Black women and Black men do well. And I'm so proud that I know two of them. But let's dive in. Let's get into the story. Let's get into the questions and everything. So, Lasenta, tell us first your personal journey, then tell us how you got into construction.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, and I feel like I done told this story about 100,000 times, but every time I tell it, it resonates differently, to people, which is so exciting. So back when I was in college, my mom had lost her house to a foreclosure. And I said, well, let me find out if I can learn how to design and build her a house. And I looked at different programs and saw that Clemson had an architectural program, which at the time I knew I could not afford. And then Midlands Technical College is the only other college in South Carolina that offered architecture, engineering, technology. So I enrolled at Midlands Tech. I studied architecture, engineering, technology with the hopes and purpose of graduating and designing and building my mom a home. Unfortunately, Marilyn, 3 months before I graduated, my mom passed away.
Oh.
Yep. So I never actually had an opportunity to do that, for my mom. But thank God, now we're gonna get more into it. But now I'm able to do that for other families throughout our communities. So it's still a win-win for me. But that's how I end up getting into that space. And then the other part I'll share, once I graduated from Midlands Tech, I went to work for the University of South Carolina. And my job was an architecture engineering technician where I designed layouts for renovations for different offices and classrooms throughout the university system. Well, I learned that my designs weren't as good as they need to be for the construction team. And they always complained about something that I submitted to them. So I said, okay, I need to learn more about construction because I need to make sure that I'm producing, a good product that they can use on the other end. And when I learned it, just going and watching them actually do the work, I fell in love with the process of it, the construction side of it. And from there, I just started taking continuing ed classes and learning more about construction. And just think 20 some years later, I have my own business. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow. So let me ask you this. When did you decide to step out on your own and do your own business?
Okay. So first of all, I used to be a state employee and I always knew that I was different. I always went above and beyond and was so quick to get work done. They like, Lasenta, you ain't got to do the work that fast. We can take our time. And I realized that I was different. Like I knew that I had something, like I didn't know a whole lot about entrepreneurship. Like my grandmother ran a business, but I never really thought, never really processed it that I could be an entrepreneur. But I lost my job in January of 2011. And even though I have 3 college degrees, I just struggled finding a job. Like no one would give me the opportunity. And so I just decided that I needed to do something for myself. And so I started my own business. There's a backdrop story to that, of course. But it led to me starting my own business, which is LLE Construction Group.
It's interesting. I am also an entrepreneur, and I could certainly relate to you knew you were always different. And with me, I had to come to that conclusion also that I was different because I was tend to do a project and then I would get bored working for somebody else because I was making money for them. And I'm like, there's something here that's just not clicking.
Yeah.
And I had to make that decision to prepare myself to step out. And I have a 4-year degree, but I went back to a community business class called In-Place Impact at the College of Charleston.
Wow.
And it's free. And it was about entrepreneurship. I think growing up, because we have small business owners in my family also in the neighborhood, but that the term entrepreneur was not used.
Yeah.
So, so it's something that we had to learn and understand the concept of. And basically, we're problem solvers.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
Yours was a very personal story, going back to what you told us regarding your mother and the foreclosure. You saw a problem and you wanted to solve it.
I did.
And it was your personal story that took you on this professional path.
Yes.
So I'm amazed. And my thought was, as you are building these homes for families, you are still building that home for your mother.
Yeah.
Because you're providing space for others.
Yes.
And that's a very good thing. So I get that. And I think people need to hear this.
Yeah.
Because so many people see success stories and think, I can't do that. Because they see the success, but they don't see the journey.
No.
And this is why we need to have these type of conversations to understand it could be just something simple that triggers you, that just gets that fire under you to step out and do what you've done. And look what you've done. Consistently, for 20 years, you've put the work in, and look what you've done to create that. Any thoughts regarding that?
Well, yeah. So, that's such a great point that you make, because I think throughout my life, I've always been a problem solver, just always looking at, how to make my environment and people around me better. And I didn't realize it, but that's what entrepreneurship is all about. We start a business to solve a problem or create a product or services that is much needed in the community. And that's what business is all about. And so, gosh, I mean, the way you brought it together is so true, because I did start this journey because of my passion to want to serve and help my mom. and now just to be able to be in a position to help other families. I mean, that to me, that's leaving a legacy. That's building up my community. And I really appreciate, just the opportunities that have been given to me to even be in this space right now, and be able to serve our community and make some changes. And I lived in affordable housing growing up. We lived in low income housing when I was a child. When I was a single parent, I lived in low income housing. And it was very critical that I was able to be able to put our family in spaces that we could afford and still live, and eat and pay car insurance. And, housing is one of the largest expenses to a lot of families.
Mm-hmm.
And, right now we just don't see a lot of affordable housing. Or if we do, it's not enough. And so the journey that I started 20 something years ago, to help my mom, I now see that need in our community. So it's just a blessing that, I'm in the position today where I can make a difference.
Yep, yeah, and thank you very much. Well, I know a lot of people are grateful that you are in this position. So tell us a little bit more about the process of starting the actual business. What did you do specifically? I see a question here.
Okay.
Miss Thor is asking, do I have to go to school?
Oh,
Well, you have architecture, engineering. You need those type of degrees. But to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to stand out on a limb by myself here and say you don't necessarily have to go to school for that.
no.
You
No.
don't have to go get that entrepreneur degree,
No.
but you do have to get a degree in a specific skill set. I think I want building my house. You don't have an architectural degree,
Yeah.
but to start the business, you don't have to have that degree.
No.
But go ahead, Lasenta, tell us your story. How did you actually go through the process to build a business?
Well, first of all, a lot of people start a business. I could know how to bake really great cakes, right? And I decide, okay, I'm gonna start my own business, create a storefront making cakes. But if I don't know about business, like, how to manage my money, what type of licenses I need, there's so many aspects of running a business that you need to learn that is separate from the skill set or the work or services that you're going to provide. So
That's true.
just because I know how to bake really good cakes don't mean I need to open up my own business per se until I learn really how to manage a business. So when I first opened up LLE Construction Group, even though I'm a project manager and I love projects, I love working with our clients, I had a learning curve where I had to learn how really to run a business. Like what is required of me, getting an office space, paying general liability insurance, get the bonding, get, having workers comp, being able to have subcontractors. When I have subcontractors, do I have a contract or an agreement that I have in place? Those were some learning curves that I had to learn pretty much on my own, when I started my business. And even though, like I say, I can go on anybody's project and manage it from a construction or facility aspect, but I needed to also know how to run my business. So that made me go and take, I took some classes. Somebody just posted SBA. Yes, I do frequent SBA.gov, and they have an online portal where you can do your business plan. They have training. I went to the South Carolina Department of Transportation after I got my DBE, and I took some QuickBook classes, proposal writing. The City of Columbia offers so many classes that we can take as entrepreneurs. Richland County with Erica Wade, they offer different training. So I've always made sure I put myself in a space where I was learning more about business, not just construction. So also I went through the next level with I did the next level training, which is with Michelle Dugar. I did the fast track small business training with Tom Ledbetter with Midlands Tech and the City of Columbia partnership. So once you're in business, a lot of times we think that we have to stay in the business all day working. But in order to grow $1 million company, sometimes as business owners, we have to step out of the business and really invest into the infrastructure. We need to invest in educating ourselves as business owners and just make sure we put in the right structures in place, to grow the business and building our team. Like if you've never hired an employee and managed people, and yet you own a business, I had to go. I mean, I have done that before, but I just went to learn, like, to make sure that I'm doing things the right way. And that was so very important to me, because at the end of the day, my integrity, it speaks for itself in business. And I wanted that to lead the pack, not the fact that I'm a woman or a Black woman in business, but that, okay, if you work with Lasenta, they're going to do a really awesome job for you. And that's what's always been important to me. People, I'm going to say this, people always say, well, listen, how is it being a Black female in construction? Well, of course it has its challenges, but I never lead with I'm a Black woman in construction. I lead with, this is the services we provide, and this is how we can produce and, and provide for our clients. Because at the end of the day, we're solving a problem for them. They want to make sure that work gets done. That's what's important. And if they're looking at me, and don't want to give me an opportunity because I'm a Black female, shame on them, And so I always lead with the fact that we're just going to do a great job for our clients, and we're going to provide the services that they need.
Very good. And that is so true. And my late mother taught me, she said, always continue learning.
Yeah.
Even after you get your degree, anything, continue learning. There are courses that I took for me to leave my job and start on this journey. I went and took that community class. So, and it may not necessarily be a degree, but take webinars, take workshops. There's so much out there that's available to us. And I still take classes to this day, like you were stating, that because there's things I just don't know.
Yeah.
And even if it's, I've learned more about the environmental movement in the last couple of years, because with the chamber, our advocacy is the environment, addressing climate change, green renewable energy. Well, I had to know more about that, so I could connect it to what I'm doing with the chamber and the work. So I'm constantly learning.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and making those connections to the business. Understanding how climate change is impacting the land and the water. It impacts affordable housing. It impacts where people are going to live. So you start making those connections. So it's amazing. People think, oh, I don't need that workshop.
Yes, you do.
But it can't hurt. You're still learning. So very good. And SBA.gov, I'm glad Frank McClary posted that, and I posted it because, and it too, because I bring them on this show also, and try to get them on at least once a month, talking about what they offer and everything, because it's a great resource, wonderful resource. Look, these questions or comments are flying in. Let's get to some of them. This is Demi again. She's a licensed real estate broker in North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm studying to take the contractor's residential and commercial general contractor's exam. After licensing, what next steps do you suggest?
Well, so I guess I have a follow-up question. Is her interest mostly, she said residential and commercial?
Yeah, she said residential and commercial general contractor's exam. She's studying for it.
Oh, okay. Well,
and after licensing, what steps should she take?
So there's 2 licenses. You can take the license to be a residential contractor, or you can take the general contractor license, which is mostly commercial, but allows you to do residential. So it depends on where her main focus is. But once I obtained my general actually, when I passed the GC license, the exam, I actually worked for my previous employer. So I didn't actually have a business when I first passed the exam. I later I had to sit my license with a company, or I would lose it. Either you use it or lose it. And so that's what made me start LLE Construction Group. It was just a placer for me to actually, hang my license on. And I didn't have an intent at the time to start my own business. I just did it so I didn't lose my license, because that exam kicked my behind.
I've heard that. I've heard that general contract. But that's not to say don't try, folks. We're not encouraging y'all to not try. We just, telling you how it is. You can do it though.
Yeah, it was very challenging for me to pass that exam. But and once I did, I didn't want to lose it. So, I started LLE just as a placement for my license. But once I lost my job, I realized that, okay, listen to this is real now. I need to go ahead and step forward, take that leap and work in my business. And so I always say, so business is all about relationships. The relationships that we build is so very critical, even when we're working for other people. So the client that we had with my previous employer ended up being my first client. And because I built that relationship and they saw my work, they were willing to work with me. And that says a lot. So even if you working to start your own business and you have an employer, and you just so happens to be going into that same industry, it's critical to build those relationships because you never know. They may be the ones that give you your opportunity once you go out on your own. And so I actually, since that article came out on yesterday, I've had so many people inboxing me and asking me how to get their GC license and what's the process. And I plan to do a Facebook Live just to kind of share some more detailed on how to do that, because it's hard to respond to so many people at, in different times. But I will say that you really need experience. I do think that, like, if you're in real estate, then you working with contractors now because you're making sure that they're getting into the owner's property or whoever your client is, and they're getting the work done. So you building those contracting relationships now. So I would pay attention to the work that they're doing, how they're doing it. Are they finishing on time? What the materials they're using. Like, I'm a lifetime learner, so I used to always just sit, observe, listen, just to see how. I ask a lot of questions. Like, if they're doing something I really didn't understand, I would ask questions so they can kind of share with me the process. The process is so very critical to understand that part of it. And, some people go into construction thinking, oh, I can do this, it's easy, but there's so many parts and pieces to it. And as a project manager, we're managing every piece and part of it. So if we're dealing with an electrician, the plumber, the electrical contractor, the cabinet guys, the flooring, the painter, you may have 10 different subs on one job, and you got to be able to multitask and manage all of that and make sure everybody's on schedule and where they need to be. Make sure people getting paid, because this is not going to be your only job. The next job, you're going to need those same people. So you want to always make sure as a contractor that you're paying your subs. Like, I can't do what I do without my subcontractors. I depend on them. I value the work that they bring to the table, and we build a good partnership. And so that's what I always tell people. When you go into construction, there's just so many parts and pieces to it that you have to manage, that it is helpful to know some of it, if you're going to start a construction company. So, yeah, you can go shadow a company owner. But like for me, when I was getting my master's degree in human resources, I reached out to an agency and asked if I could just come and, provide.
And shadow?
Yeah, just shadow, volunteer, or do an intern. So I ended up doing an intern with South Carolina State Housing Authority. I worked under their human resources director, and I learned a lot about what they do from the employee side and the employer side. So, and then there's been times I volunteered. I didn't even get paid, but the knowledge that I took away from those opportunities, it was worth it in itself. So sometimes you just got to go the extra mile, to learn more about what's going on in the industry. Like, also, I believe in joining associations, like the National Association of Minority Contractors, NAMEC, South Carolina. We got the Carolina AGC, which is Association General Contractors. And now that I have my realtor's license, I'm getting more involved in the different, so the NAR and and then the urban ULI, the Urban Land Institute. I'm making sure I'm putting myself in these spaces that's important to my industries that I'm working in and I'm serving. That's so critical. And they too provide they'll provide extra education too for you to learn more about that space. Oh, and I will not get off this call without mentioning NAWIC, which is the National Association of Women in Construction. So we also have that here in Columbia as well.
So say that again. National Association of Women
in Construction. So
in Construction.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
Very good.
NAWIC, AGC.
It sounds like you created your own apprenticeship. When you go and you ask people to show you what they're doing, or you shadow them and you work with them to learn the process, that's an apprenticeship, an informal apprenticeship. And I like the fact that you're taking continuing courses, volunteering in the space where you want to work. Some of my best jobs came from volunteering.
Yeah.
When I first moved out to Phoenix, Arizona, I lived out in Arizona for 5.5 years, and I looked for a job for about 6 months. I had a job offer, but when I got out there, I turned it down. 'Cause it was kind of shady, to tell you the truth. Because I did some investigation while I had to come back to South Carolina, pack up, and go back. So I did some investigation, and it was kind of shady. So I turned them down. So I ended up looking for work. But what ended up happening is I ended up sending a letter out to, they had the Phoenix Metropolitan Business Journal, and they would do their annual listing of the top 50 industries. So they had the top 50 public relations firms, top 50 advertising agencies. I sent them all a letter saying that I would work for free.
Wow.
To
I'm sorry.
one, just to get my foot in the door. I already had a college degree and I had about 6 years of experience, but I wanted to get my foot in the door. So I offered to work for free. And I had so many phone calls from that. And I ended up interviewing the same day I interviewed with the company. They asked me to start working that day. They actually left their office to go to an appointment and said, "Can you staff the front desk for us?"
Wow.
And then on the way back, I was doing their messages and stuff. And one of the ladies got a little attitude with me, and I got a little attitude back with her. Because I'm like, well, you're not even paying me, but I'm cool.
Right.
When they got back to the office, walked through the door, they hired me because they said they liked my spirit.
That's right.
Now, I don't recommend everybody getting a little attitude, but
no, don't do that.
But I had to let them know, I worked there for a month and a half on a major project, and in the meantime, was still interviewing. Finished the major project on the Sunday. The very next morning, started with another agency and stayed there for about 2 years. Yeah, I think it was about 2 years.
Wow.
And then moved on from there in total, and ended up being in other positions. Never looked back. But volunteering in the field to get my foot in the door, to build those relationships.
That's right.
Because almost every other job I got is because I built relationships.
Oh, it's so critical.
And they would call me up and say, "Marilyn, this job is open. Would you be interested in it?" So sometimes you got to volunteer to open that, to get in that space, to get where you need to go. Even while you're working, volunteer to get into that space. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Great information to know. So we got some questions. They coming in good.
Okay.
Let me see. Curtis, do you work with nonprofits or brokers/agents? So Curtis, I guess maybe a little bit more information, but do you work with nonprofits?
Oh yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, so during COVID, I've done a pivot in my business. Our main focus used to be more general contracting, construction, project and construction management, and facility maintenance and management. That's always been the services that we provide. During COVID, I made a little shift, a pivot, and now that we're working more into the affordable housing space, we most definitely work with nonprofits because we're looking to partner with them in order to either build on lots that they own or either renovate houses where we can give those back to the community to provide more affordable housing in the community. As far as brokers or agent, I am now a realtor. I'm with Coa Baker as of today. And but I still work with other, agents, whoever bring properties to the table as well. Working with Shayla Riley and some of the other local agents here in Columbia. So yes, we do. We tend to work with them. This is something new that we're doing, so I'm excited. But I'm interested in the outcome. So at the end of the day, the goal is to provide more affordable housing in our communities. That's the goal. Who I partner with to make that happen. I'm always open to, who we can partner with to move that needle forward, because teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right.
And, I can't do it in silo. I can't do what I do by myself. It does take the community for us to come together to make these changes that we want to see in the community.
It most certainly does. I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you define affordable housing?
Okay, so affordable housing can be defined from a government perspective, where you're at that 80% income ratio. But for me, because I lived in affordable housing, one, I want to be able to afford where I live, afford it. Like I want to be able to not pay more than 30% of my income that I make in my job on my housing. Because if I'm paying all of my, if you think about it, a lot of families are paying way more than 50% of their revenue, the income they bring into their home. They're paying that just to live in a space. And a lot of people they're not buying, they're renting. So they don't have that return on investment if they're not homeowners, right? So the goal is to help create more homeowners. Because if you think about it, over the years, how do you build wealth? We build wealth by investing, whether it's investing in real estate or even in ourselves to be entrepreneurs. Those have been very big ways that many families have invested in order to build that wealth. And if you're renting all your life and you're paying $1,500 a month for rent, and it's not going toward the purchase of a home, we want to change that narrative. We really do. We want to create more housing opportunities for families that they can afford. I mean, I can get into the technical, how much you can't make over this amount of money.
That actually was a great answer. And the reason I asked that, I think a lot of folks think of affordable housing. You do hear the 30% of your income. That's what you should be putting towards housing.
Right.
But I think also a lot of folks think of affordable housing as like public housing, which it is. Yeah. But something that I learned recently in Georgetown County, where I live, from the county administrator, we actually have a lack of affordable housing for teachers, for the firemen, for the policemen. They actually, most of them live outside of the county and commute in.
Right.
So we're actually, and the impact is because of lack of affordable housing for their incomes.
That's right.
So, and that hurt. And I don't think people think of this in terms of, they think of it in housing, but it also impacts everything else, because we're paying taxes to people who take it out of our county.
That's right.
And that impacts our tax revenue. And you can't blame them if they can't afford the housing.
Right.
So we have to figure out a way how to provide affordable housing, as you say, for everyone. I'm glad you took it to that 30%, and really you explained quite well how that's determining affordable housing. Looking at 30%, what can you afford? You want 30% of your income or less towards housing, and that really was a good explanation.
Well,
thank you very much.
You probably can get some experts on here and they'll break it down even more. But for me, because I've lived in affordable housing and I needed it in order to take care of my family, that's how I define it. And I know that that's not just my story. That's the story for a lot of families throughout our state who are in need of good, not only, and affordable housing isn't poor people housing, okay? And that's what we hear all the time. Whenever Somebody here, affordable housing. Well, we're going to build affordable housing next to this community. The community don't want it because they thinking you bringing poor people next door to them. Okay. But that's not affordable housing. Like you said, it could be your teachers, your firemen. It could be your hospital workers. It could be anybody who's looking for a home for their families, and they are able to afford it with the income that they make. And if you think about it, you have families living on minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. And how can you afford housing on a income like that? No matter where you live, we can't. And so we really need to think about, if we want an economic development in our cities, then housing should be at the forefront of our platform, because that's where we spend a lot of the revenue, of the money that we bring into our house, is where we live. And so it's two different parts. One, I really like to change the perspective that people see affordable housing as poor housing, because it's not. It's for your everyday working families.
It's what you can afford.
That's right.
And people have to really understand, and because I looked this up recently, since you mentioned the $7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
I think it takes $17.27 an hour to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in the state of South Carolina. Oh, yeah. So you're already in the hole.
Yeah, you're in the hole.
You're in the hole to begin with.
Don't have a car. Don't have car insurance. You got to pay the light bill, the water bill. You think about, and what about groceries? Everybody they don't qualify for state assistance if you get to a certain income level. Yet you got to pay high housing costs. So, we just need to really think about families, and we need to think about how we can help families, and what does it mean? How do we change the dynamic that we see right now? One is the income that we bring in, minimum wage. That's ridiculous for a grown person to make $7.25 an hour. To me, that's just Lasenta's perspective. And then to have housing that's not affordable. That's why we're in a lot of the situations we're in with families right now.
That's right. That's very true. Well, on the comment section, you're getting a lot of job offers. So look, okay, the town of Andrews will be in contact regarding affordable housing opportunities for our citizens. That's. Do you know Mayor Frank McClary?
No, but I know him now. I'm gonna reach
out. You know him now. Look out. We're gonna get the hookup, Mayor McClary. Do you have a website?
Oh yes.
Do you have a website?
I do. Yeah, I do. It's www.LLEconstructiongroup.com. And actually, if you Google my name, it should come up as well.
Okay. All right. So that's LLE
Construction Group.
.com. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna get that up, y'all.
Thank you,
and he's not the only one now. He's not the only one, so we're gonna get that up there and scroll it. I usually do this. I should have thought about that. That's my bad, Mayor. But he wasn't the only one. There's someone else here. I'm trying to get let me see. Flora Gilliard, I believe she asked how did I get your company to build for us? And she had a previous comment about land too. Her family, my family, have all of this land and don't know what to do with it. We need help.
Well,
so Flora, drop in the comments, Flora. Where do you live, Flora? We need to know that.
Where do you
Flora.
live?
Yeah, drop in the comments, Flora. Where do you live?
For the land, is it for you to keep it in the family, or you want to build housing for the community?
Oh, so she's ahead. I am looking for a contractor in South Carolina. My family is from Cross, South Carolina. That's the Cross community. Oh, we lost Lasenta, y'all. She's going to come back on. They're having a storm in Richland County, Columbia. Very bad language. So she told me she disappeared. She'll come back in with her phone and everything. So I think that's what's going on. So while she's getting back on, please take note of her website, LLEconstructiongroup.com. Flora, you live in New York. I see that. Okay. Well, we'll make sure that, but you have the family land in Cross and you're interested in doing something with the land. And hey, that's why we have Lasenta on to talk and really maybe help some folks out and get in touch with folks and everything. And Mayor McClary also posted urban.org. Do minority-owned businesses get a fair share of government contracts? Mayor, when she gets back on, we're going to definitely ask her that question, because prior to the show, we were talking about bonding and certification and how that opens up contract and subcontract opportunities, in particular for construction businesses. That's a whole world out there that a lot of folks don't know about, those opportunities that they may be missing out on. And we see LLE Construction Group.com. David, thank you for posting that in the comment section. And has Lasenta is working to come back on and join us. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section, and we will definitely. Oh, there she is. Here she comes. I was just explaining to everybody about the storm and everything.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. We were talking, and I was mentioning some of these comments. And Flora, you're welcome. We're welcome, Flora. Just go to her website and look up her information. So hold on, we got one. Okay. Do minority-owned businesses get a fair share of government contracts, Lasenta? I was telling them prior to the show, we were talking about how important it is to get bonded and certification, and it really opens up those contract and subcontract opportunities in government, but also private too. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Do minority-owned businesses get a fair share, and what can we do if we're a minority-owned business to get that fair share?
Well, first of all, statistics shows us that we don't. If you look at the data that SBA produces every year, it clearly shows that we're not meeting. Well, last year they showed that they met the goal of I think it was the 5%. So SBA has goals that they set aside for small business owners, whether it's women. So you got your women-owned WSB program, you got your veterans certified disabled vet, I can't get it out, program where they have certain 3%, 5% goals that they've had to set aside. Just think about it. If they're doing $1.4 trillion of business of goods and services every year, and they have 5%, 3% goals, what does that tell you? They're not meeting those goals. I won't say they're not meeting the goals, because they did show last year that they did meet their 5% goal, but it's still 5% is nothing compared to 1.4 trillion or so dollars. So
listen,
so I recommend.
I want people to think about this. Yeah. Like in South Carolina, for example, African Americans, we are 28% of the population. That's the minimum, I think. When these contracts come down, the goal should be we're going to hire 28% minority contractors or subcontractors. Minimum. Hey, we'll take more than that, because, that's life. So when I hear 5%, you are correct. That in and of itself, the goal is too low. Well, if you meet that goal. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
But overall, the goal is 23% for the SBA. But a 5% may be the woman-owned business, and then I forget if the service disabled vet is like 3 or 5%. Hub Zone is another 3 or 5%. So by the time you add up the different percentages, 23%. And then if you think about it, when the city, the county, when the state, whenever they procure services, they might have a 10% goal or a 15% goal. Richland School District 1 is the first one that I've ever known to have at least a 20% goal in their contracting. And I know you say, oh, well, that's not a lot, but the excuse we hear is a lot. We don't have enough minority contractors out there to perform the work. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. There are contractors out here. I will say, you asked me, what can we do to help to increase those numbers? Well, we have to make sure we get out there and we bid on these jobs. We have to make sure whenever the city or the county or whoever is hosting, or DOT is hosting an event, that they need to be able to connect our business to who we are. And a lot of times we're so busy in there working on our business that we don't take the time to go and do these networks and these opportunities. Because remember, business is all about relationships. And if you're not out there building those relationships, it does truly have an impact on procurement in a sense. Yes, we do bid on stuff, but people do business with what? The people who they know, like, and trust, right? So if you're not in that circle and they don't know you and you bid on something, even though your number might come in where they need it, if they don't know your reputation or the work that you've done, in the past, that can impact you. And then another thing I think that hurts us as business owners is access to capital. So for me, I'm gonna give you an example. For me as a construction company, a lot of times I have to come out of pocket to do projects for my clients. So it's like I'm their bank in a sense, if you think about it, because I have to have that capital in order to do those projects before I could ever get paid. So if you don't have good credit or you're struggling, don't have the business credit in place, and you don't have a line of credit, then you're using your profits to really run your business. And that can have a serious impact on cash flow, which I think the lady who's over now accounts, it's a new type of funding for small businesses. She say we don't go out of business, we grow out of business, because we've grown so much now that we really can't afford to keep up with paying for projects ahead of schedule. Now it's different when you get to the multi-million-dollar projects, but see, I focus on a lot of smaller jobs because when I work on a small job and we finish that work within 30 days, my profit margin is greater and I get paid quicker than if I'm working on a 12 or 18 or 24-month job where my money is spread over the course of that time. And by the end of the job, I'm like, where's the profit? You want to make sure you have that profit built into and that can stretch it, that long period of time with that project. So there's just so many facets of running a business, especially as a contractor, and making sure as a DBE, or because we are I am a small woman-owned and minority-owned business, so certifications are very important as well. In the past, I didn't think so, because even though I had certifications, I never really obtained opportunities just because I had the certification. But I do think it's helpful because it at least gives you the opportunity to have a seat at the table to at least start having those discussions. So I do think if your city, your county, or the state have some type of certification process for minorities or for small women, and minority business owners, then yes, apply for those certifications. Get your books in order. Get you accountant. I mean, not the back door, somebody doing your books, but a true CPA, an accountant that can help make sure that your books are in order. So when you go to the bank to apply for a loan or line of credit, you're not just showing that you're losing money every year. You hear in the community, oh yeah, I'm gonna show that I have a loss so I can get money back on my taxes. Well, just imagine if you show a profit and you can get even more money to help you grow your business. So I really think we need to change our mindset and how we think about what business and growth looks like, and the financial management piece of it is so critical. And when you start getting to $1 million in business a year, your mindset, you bound to shift because business will make you shift, and how you think about business. And if you don't, you won't survive.
That's so true. And I'm glad you mentioned that because especially the certification, the bonding, and getting your books straight. And we all go through it. I just last week I celebrated or observed 3 years as the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce. And once I started making once I started making a little bit of money, the first person I reached out to was a financial person.
That's right.
To get the book straight, because what you said, changing that mindset, you realize you got to get that mindset of how your money will make money for you.
That's right.
And getting your book straight opens you up to making more money, then to more money. Yes. And yeah, you're right. It's a short-term mindset when you're thinking of, I'm going to show a loss so I can get money back from my taxes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to pay taxes, So, but I have to adjust on my end. And I'm just going to be honest with people. Last year, I didn't have to pay taxes. This year, I have to pay taxes. Right. So now I have to make some adjustments to pay those taxes. But I'm willing to pay those taxes because that's going to take me to another level. I got to do what I got to do. But to look for a loss thinking, I'm going to get this back in my check, my refund check, that's short-term thinking.
It really is.
And if
Yeah.
you're in business, you got to think long term.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have that mindset change and
Yeah.
think long term. So I'm so glad that
Mhm.
you mentioned that because that's
Yeah.
real. And a
Yeah.
lot, and I deal with it with the chamber
Mhm.
because I meet a lot of folks who are in business but don't realize what they're really doing is a hobby.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
either you get your business can be your passion project. Like, are you really serious? Are you building a lifestyle business, or are you building a business where you a growth business? And you're right. A lot of people, and when I first started initially, I mean, I had my hustle on, but at the same time too, I knew that I wanted to have time with my family. Like, I didn't want to overcommit myself, where I didn't have time to spend with my family. So I had to adjust my mindset too to say, okay, listen, so are you building a growth business, or are you building a business that's just gonna maintain your lifestyle? Because that's so true. A lot of us do that. We make just enough to go out and get whatever car or whatever it is we want, or have just enough coming in, to run the business. But is that really enough? But again, it goes back to, what are your goals? What goals have you set for yourself and for your business? And
Hmm.
and how are you going to get to the next steps, if you're really interested in growth?
Which means you need to also have a business plan. And I think
Oh
people
yeah.
they get intimidated by that because the
Mhm.
old way of business plans and going to
Mhm.
the bank, you got to have 40 pages, 100
Mhm.
pages, you got to
Mhm.
break down
Mhm.
everything. And
Yeah.
now the folks who may be interested in giving you some money, they
Mhm.
want to know return on investment.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of them don't have time to read 40, 100 pages. The world itself
Mhm.
has just sped up because of
Mhm.
technology.
Right.
And so you need a lean business plan
Yeah.
that's
A one
organic
page.
that you
Yeah.
could go back and tweak
Yeah.
and adjust because that's business plans are organic
Yeah.
documents. But you gotta have
Mhm.
it. Because if it's
Yeah.
up here, that's not a plan. That's a dream and
Mhm.
a vision. But once
That's
you
right.
write it down, it becomes a
Mhm.
plan.
That's
You
right.
know. And
That's right.
so, do you have a business plan? Did you actually at some
Oh,
point
yeah,
sit
most
down?
definitely. Yeah, but I'm gonna say this. I created a business plan for me, for Lasenta,
Mm-hmm.
because it gave me an opportunity to really think through, what am I building? What are the components of, who are my clients? How will I market to them? What kind of money? What would my price structure look like? A lot of businesses, they struggle with even determining how much they're gonna charge for their products and services. So really making sure that research that I did for my business, it wasn't for the bank, it was for me. And I tell business owners all the time that you put into that business plan is really helping you to solidify the purpose of your business and what direction you plan to take that business. And then, yes, you can go back and say, okay, now that the bank is ready to see me, well, guess what? I already have that. I know they really want to know, do you even understand what you're doing? Do you understand your business and how you going to make money? How you going to pay me back when I give you this loan?
Mm-hmm.
You you really got to be able
That
to.
return on investment was the first thing on my mind. They just want to know how they're gonna get their money back.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
right.
And
Yeah,
they really want to know too, what's your business acumen? What knowledge do you bring to the table? Not only as the business, doing the trade or whatever your industry, but really understanding business. And
mm-hmm.
so to me, that, yes, the business plan is so critical. And actually SBA has a online business plan that you can complete. Wells Fargo has an online business plan that you complete through the LEAP program with South Carolina Community Bank. They also have, and then you can do the lean canvas or the one pager that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the one pager on several of my other businesses that, I decided I wanted to, because it helped me think through. Like, it really helped me to put on paper, what business am I building? And when I'm ready to give that elevator pitch, I can truly explain the purpose of my company and the services I'm going to provide to our clients and who my clients are.
That's
So
true.
yeah,
That's very true. My
yeah.
business plan, because I have 4
Okay.
organizations.
Oh wow. You're a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
That's, yes, ma'am.
Either that or crazy. But um, but one day, Well, I have the lean business plan, but one day I had all this stuff in my head and I had to sit down. You know those brown craft paper rolls?
Yeah.
I went and bought one and literally wrote out
Oh,
everything
wow.
and
Oh, that's
posted it
beautiful.
on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And that, so I could see it in front of me because
See
I'm a
it.
visual
Yep.
person. I need to see
Yes.
that. And since COVID, I'm working at home. I don't have that same space. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not right in front of me right now. But,
Yeah.
and I say that to tell people, get it out your head and get it on paper.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
flesh it out later. I love
Mm-hmm.
that you said you wrote it for you. That is
Yeah.
so crucial. Don't,
Yeah.
you're right. Write it for you.
Yes.
You answer those questions for you. Who are my customers?
Yes.
How do I want to grow?
Yes.
Where do I want a location or not?
Mm-hmm.
How much do I want to make and live on?
Yeah.
Do it for you. And if that
Yes.
takes writing it on a little notebook,
Yeah.
or I write a lot of stuff, then I go back. That
Mm-hmm.
same brown piece of paper, once I got on that brown piece of paper, I sat
Yeah.
in front of my computer and put it in a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Wow.
So we say this, folks, it doesn't have to be this 40, 100 page document.
No, it don't.
And I think that intimidates people.
It does. Yeah.
Just grab a piece of paper and get it out your head and write it down. And
Yep.
how long, in 5 years, this is where I want to be, and this is how I'm going to get there.
Yeah, and I just want to share this
Go ahead,
too.
please do.
Once you do that, there's so many free services in our community to help you as you think through your business. We have the small business development centers throughout the state, and they have been so very helpful to me and the work that I'm doing, from Cheryl Sally to Alan to oh my gosh, Scott Bellows. I mean, they have been phenomenal for me and my business. You got your women's business centers. You can go to them and also get counseling sessions. So, I hear people say, well, I want to start a business, but I don't know where to start. Well, that's a good place to start. A lot of people go to SCORE. So I won't say anything bad about SCORE, but I don't quite use them as often. I will be attending one of their webinars coming up on April the 1st. But when it comes to that counseling, that coaching that I need from when I was starting my business, I use the SBDC, and I've also utilized the Women's Business Center. So they have been, very integral in helping me to get it out of my head on the paper. You got your minority business development agencies with Diane Sumter and Camille Shaw. They do a great job as well with small business owners.
Yes,
so
they do.
there's so many resources, in the community. When I hear somebody tell me they pay somebody $8,000 to do their SBA 8A application, I cringe, because I truly believe I'm not taking away from somebody else's business, but there are resources in our communities where you can go to get assistance with anything with SBA and with these certification programs. Even your city, state, and the county, they all have people within their agencies that can assist you with paperwork and just helping you. And if they can't, they'll lead you to resources in the community that can help you.
I'm so glad that you mentioned all of those organizations and institutions, because you are correct. Those are resources. Yeah. And if y'all, I got some emails, folks. I will send y'all those in emails, links to their websites, sba.gov. Mayor McClary already posted that huge resource. And some of these we're not telling y'all that these are perfect organizations. Right. They're resources. Yes. Okay. Because with the SBA, I'm working with the Southland Small Business Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to reform the SBA, because we think they need to be more proactive about some stuff. And really drilling down and helping some of these small businesses that just may need a $5,000 loan or a $500 loan. They're getting into that micro lending. But that's why I started the chamber. We're the type of organizations that go do those kind of, have those kind of conversations, get into those spaces so we can address them to help the small businesses. We're a resource. And so I'm glad you mentioned that. There are a lot of resources out there.
There are,
and
I would be remiss if I do not mention Richland County Library, who has an entrepreneur in residence program. Yes, and you can go and sit with the right now is Kevin Williams. He is the entrepreneur in residence right now, and he can sit with you, whether it's virtual. Well, everything is virtual right now, but I mean that's convenient, right? But have
Yep.
a virtual appointment with you to talk about your business and some next steps, and share some of these local resources. So I just thought I better share them as well because they're doing a
Well,
great job.
we covered half the state because with me being in Georgetown on the
Yes,
coast and you in the Midlands and Richland County, when we give
yes,
y'all these resources, it's covering half the state.
into the
And
state.
yes,
That's
this is
right.
replicated in the upstate too.
That's
If
right.
you're in the
That's
upstate,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. You were This has been a great show. I'm about to tell you something. It's been an hour.
Oh, is it really?
It has been an
Oh,
hour,
wow.
and this is really good. I'm gonna have to
Oh,
bring
wow.
you back
Okay.
on, and
Okay.
we're gonna have to talk some more. Great. Hi, Sharon. Hi,
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 Sharon.
Flora. Lots of people just dropping some comments and everything. This has been wonderful, very
Yes.
informative.
Yes.
I want to remind everybody that you are watching a gathering place hosted by the Gallagher Chamber of Commerce. We will have the SBA back on. I try to get Mr. Williams out of Charleston in once a
Okay.
month to
Okay.
talk about their services and stuff and the
Mm-hmm.
website and where you can go and get stuff. I'm
Yes.
starting the Chamber of Commerce. We're working on some programming also to bring some
Okay.
education to folks. The business of doing business is what we're calling it.
Okay.
And we
Awesome.
work with the Georgetown Innovation Center is a
Mm-hmm.
place where I go. That's run by John Kinney, and we're partnering on some stuff. They like you said, they'll sit down with you, talk you through some
Yes.
stuff, help me get it out of my head, help me
Mm-hmm.
develop a blueprint of,
Mm-hmm.
this step, next step, who should I talk to? It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
about relationship building.
Yeah.
But before we go, couple questions. You kind of touched on it a little bit too,
Okay.
but a Black woman in construction, you've probably faced some barriers. But give us some advice. I say you're a Black woman because you're a Black woman, but this is
Mm-hmm.
advice is for men and women.
Women.
So
Yeah.
give us some advice to be in the construction industry.
Well, and some people may not agree, but I don't care. I'm gonna share what I think. So for me, when I go into a room, I don't look at me as a Black female in construction. Um, I'm going back to what I said earlier. I go in, I'm looking at what problem am I trying to solve for our clients? What resources will it take for me to get there? And what team do I need to build to make it happen? So, and I lead with that. I do. And unfortunately, there have been times where I am looked at a Black female in construction and that I don't know what I'm doing. But I thank all of the people who felt like that because they pushed me to be where I am today. Because of that mentality that I've had to deal with, you made me learn construction and you made me learn my business because I'm like, I can do this, and I try not to let anyone discourage me. I'm gonna share a quick example. When I used to work on the site as a site superintendent, when I did that, I worked with a lot of older white men, and one way I prayed and asked God to really show me how do I work with these guys so that we can build a good camaraderie and finish this project, because at the end of the day it impacted all of us. So how can I make sure that we work well together? Well, one thing I didn't do, even though I'm the project manager, and technically I was their boss, I didn't come in being the big boss lady, spreading my knowledge and all of that, and my ego all around. I actually worked with them. I relied on their knowledge in order for us to get those projects done. And we were able eventually, yeah, we bumped toes and heads a little bit, but I stood my ground and I still let them know I need you. Like at the end of the day, we're working together. It's a teamwork, make the dream work kind of thing. If we don't do this right, we don't get more opportunities. So we have to come together and make this happen. And yeah, I've had some that still was like, they didn't want to work with me. I didn't care. At the end of the day, as long as we got done what we needed to get done and you didn't disrespect me on this end, we good, And you have to be confident in what you do. That's why I always tell people, get the knowledge. Because when you lead with knowledge, my mom used to always tell us, you get your education, can't nobody take that from you.
That's
You
right.
lead, that's right. You lead with the knowledge that you know the project, you know what to do. And one thing I've always done in construction, I review the plans, I review the specs. Like if somebody start asking questions, I can tell you the answer. I don't have, oh, let me get back to you. Now I've done that before, but I try my best to learn everything that I can about a project. So when I'm in a meeting, you're not gonna throw me under the bus. You know, I'm gonna make sure that when you need to know some truth, you're gonna come to Lasenta. And at the end of the day, and that's all about building that confidence, building your knowledge, and being able to sit at the table with the big boys and have those conversations and still be confident that they'll still choose you, not because you're a Black female, but because you know your stuff. So at the end of the day, that is what's important to me. I'm leading into this room knowing that we're just providing an excellent, knowledgeable service to our clients. That we're not, don't look at me because I'm a Black female, because we still produce, you know? And
That's
so
right.
that's what's important to me, Marilyn. Yeah, I've had some struggles. You know, I can go into all the little crazy stuff people done, you know, to try to deter me out of construction
but that's not what we don't want. What we want to hear is what to keep going.
That's right.
We could all tell some stories.
That's right.
But you know, I tell people, once you figure out your journey, it's amazing how much the pettiness and the envy and those hiccups just fall away.
Oh yeah, yes.
Because you stay focused and you know it's there now. We can tell. Don't be dumb about it.
Right.
But it's amazing how it will fall away when you are on that journey and you understand that. You know, when you just got your skill set together, you got your head together, and it's important to know it's a journey because it's going to be ups and downs. But if you stay consistent, and going back to the very beginning of this conversation, when you said you've been doing this 20 years, y'all got to hear that now. 20 years. You know, people saluting you, and I'm glad to salute you. I brought you on because I want her to share her knowledge. You know.
Thank you. I want to say one thing, Marilyn.
Consistent. Go ahead.
Just remember, people want to be on the winning team. If you would create that environment and they know that you know what you're doing, and they realize if I go in this direction, whether she a Black female, Black, whatever, if we're going to win, let's go. What can I bring to the table to work with you, to help you? People want to win.
That's right.
So create that environment around you. Let people see that whatever your business is, I'm good at what I do. We do it best. That's why you need to work with us. Create that environment and you'll be amazed who would want to collaborate and joint venture and partner and team with you, you know, to go after and help these clients who need us to help them solve their problems in their organization. That is why we're here as a business owner. So people want to be on the winning team. So create that.
That's right. Could not have said it any better. Could not have said it any better. That's the truth. You know, one thing I notice about you, Lasenta, even on Facebook, you post stuff. Y'all follow her on Facebook if she's not having reached your limit, because you put good information out.
Yeah,
you do. You put it's inspirational, but pragmatic, practical information. Just putting it out there, you know. That you know, I read it. I'm sure other people are reading it. Just putting it out there. The Gullah-Geechee Chamber, we just share resources. We just put stuff out there. Y'all take it and run with it if you will, because people want to be part of a winning team. You will be amazed once you are consistent and you start checking off certain boxes. People will come to you because they want to be a part of that.
That's right.
They want to be a part of that. So I'm so glad that you said that. I mean, we need to hear these kind of messages. We need to see it and those kind of messages and everything. Yeah. All right. So you know I want you to come back, right?
Yes.
Wait. So you know, wait. This is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask Brunson and you to come back together.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. You two need to come back together and talk. So y'all, Brunson was my guest. He's my He my cousin, y'all. Just I got an inside track. He'll come family. He might be watching. So if you watching Brunson, we gonna get y'all together, you and Lasenta, and come back and talk about construction. It's fascinating to me. Just the field of construction. I don't want to be the general contractor. But I am fascinated by people building stuff and doing the work that you guys are doing, and the understanding you have when it comes like building those relationships, the networking, certification, bonding, really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of being in business.
Yeah.
You know, who you hire, your financial matters. I find that stuff fascinating. Doesn't mean I'm going to go into construction, but it informs all of us. So I'm going to bring you two back together.
Okay, I want to tell you too before we go. I started a new business. I'm like you. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
All right.
So I started Collaborative Partners LLC, and we're a community and commercial real estate and development group. So now that I've done construction, I learn it. I love it. I'm ready. I'm a visionary. I want to see some different developments in our communities, and I want to help to move it forward.
Oh, so yeah, we got to bring you back. We got to bring you back.
So that's my next.
Okay. I'm just going to throw this out here as a teaser.
Okay.
Tiny homes.
Yes, I love tiny homes. I just shared tiny homes. I'm not sure if I can live in one. I need more space, but one day I think I can do it. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, this is real. Let me tell you, because I get more phone calls because the tourism, the low country, from folks who are looking at retirement in 5 to 10 years, and they want the community, but they want a tiny home community. They call them pocket neighborhoods. Since you know, I'm sure you've heard that term. They want that for the security, but they don't want a big mortgage. They want a tiny home that they can pay off, have that community. Then they want to travel.
Yeah.
So it's out there. It's
I'm one of them.
I don't put the market out there. Y'all, that's the business opportunity. Y'all need to call us and get the business together. Because, I get the phone calls from folks about land. The Gallo community know more about it. When I retire, I want to be in that area.
Yeah.
And it's out. Yeah. We just need collaborative group. Yeah.
We got some development coming to you.
Thank you. Wait, Flora says she's from Cross community. I know Flora. I got friends, a sorority sister in Cross. Girl, we all gonna get together.
I know. Yeah. That sounds like a plan.
Look, this is why we have these kind of shows, y'all. We networking.
Yes.
Listen, I have enjoyed this show, and let me tell you, Wednesday coming up, Sue Ham Entertainment, Sulandia Hammond, and she's coming on to actually talk about some educational programs she has coming up for businesses, real estate, all kind of programs. So this coming Wednesday, she's going to be on to talk about the programs she's going to be producing to educate our people. So y'all come back this Wednesday at 4 for Sulandia Hammond. Let me throw it up really quickly here before we go.
I might have to join her.
Yes, entrepreneurship education. Yep. She's got a number of programs coming up. She will be here Wednesday, March 31st at 4 o'clock p.m. on Facebook and YouTube Live, just like we are today. And she's going to be talking about some of the programs she's rolling out. And of course, Gotta Get Your Chamber of Commerce. We are all about supporting and collaboration. That's why I love the name of your new company, Collaborative Group. Love it. Y'all, that's what it's about. Lasenta, thank you for joining me today. I have enjoyed this. I hope everyone out there also in Gotta Get Your Chamber land has enjoyed it also. And we're definitely going to have you back. And next time we're going to bring Brunson on too, so we can do a tag team thing.
That would be awesome. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And good luck with everything. Y'all Google her. You see her website, LLEConstructionGroup.com at the bottom. Y'all, we got to work together. We got somebody in the field right here who's doing the thing.
Yes.
And let's go ahead and tap into this resource, y'all. And thank you very much, Lasenta, for joining me today.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your weekend.
Yes, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye.